Under the blazing sun at Swampy's Gator Emporium, Debo's mischievous grin hints at impending chaos. Debo's hand darts out, fingers twitching to snatch a plush gator from the overflowing display. Nearby, Cletus, a beacon in ridiculously bright khaki shorts, contorts for the perfect selfie. Snappy, the baby gator, squirms in Cletus's grasp, its tiny claws grasping for freedom. The air buzzes with the humid promise of adventure, mischief, and gator-filled mayhem. At Swampy's Gator Emporium, Cletus clumsily bumps into Debo. Debo snickers a triumphant, "Ha!" Snappy, a lurking alligator, sees his chance. With a swift snap, Snappy's powerful jaws clamp down on Cletus's fanny pack. The alligator devours the jerky inside, relishing the unexpected treat. Outside Swampy's Gator Emporium, a frantic tourist gestures wildly, his face a mask of desperation. His voice cracks as he shouts, "That's Snappy! Medication inside!" The humid air hangs heavy, amplifying the tourist's growing panic. Debo's eyes narrow, a cold calculation hardening his features. His command slices through the tension. "Ditch this dude." The Emporium looms ominously, its shadows promising danger and deceit. Chaos erupts at Swamped Gator Emporium as Snappy leads a wild chase through the crowded aisles. Cletus, ever clumsy, lunges in a desperate attempt to tackle Snappy amidst the frenzy. Shelves rattle and merchandise tumbles as the pursuit intensifies, scattering onlookers. A sudden menacing growl cuts through the commotion, silencing the chaos for a heartbeat. From within its enclosure, a huge gator rises, its eyes gleaming with primal hunger. The air thickens with tension as the gator's massive jaws snap shut, a stark reminder of the swamp's lurking dangers. At the Swampy Gator Emporium, Debo forcefully pulls Cletus away from the gator enclosure, his face a mask of urgency. The screech of tires announces the arrival of a beat-up lowrider, skidding to a halt nearby. Debo's frantic shout pierces the air, "Gator bait getaway!" Cletus stares wide-eyed, caught between the gator's menacing gaze and the promise of a hasty escape. Inside the lowrider, the cramped space heightens the tension between Debo and Cletus. Debo's smug expression fills the confined space, exuding dominance. "You're rolling with me now," Debo declares, his words a veiled threat. Cletus's eyes widen in disbelief, his fear palpable within the close quarters. "My rental car!" Cletus exclaims, his voice laced with desperation. The lowrider rumbles forward, sealing Cletus's fate. At Swampy's Gator Emporium, a desperate tourist aggressively pounds on the window of a lowrider, his face contorted with urgency. He demands, "I need that investment." The humid air hangs heavy, thick with the scent of swamp and desperation. Reflections shimmer off the lowrider's polished surface, hinting at hidden depths. The Emporium looms in the background, a silent witness to the unfolding drama. Inside the lowrider, Snappy gleefully chews on the fanny pack, oblivious to the world. Bass-heavy music thumps relentlessly, vibrating every inch of the car, the sound a tangible force. Debo squints, shielding his eyes from the sudden brightness. "Need shades." Escaped Florida. Cletus grins, taking in the surroundings with open arms. Concrete jungle. Jerk chicken. Debo deadpans. Just Tuesday, on a gritty city street, two figures, ragged and desperate, struggle with a heavy duffel bag. Their trembling hands lose grip. The bulging duffel bag spills onto the pavement with a muffled thud. It lands precariously close to a gleaming lowrider parked nearby. A palpable sense of unease hangs in the air as the contents of the bag remain hidden from view. The fate of the bag and the lowrider hangs in the balance. On a busy city street, Cletus makes a sudden, impulsive grab for the duffel bag. A nearby crackhead, eyes wide, shouts with glee, "Retirement plan!" The weight of the bag seems to surprise Cletus as he lifts it. He clutches the duffel bag tightly, a mixture of fear and anticipation flickering across his face. Inside the lowrider, Debo's knuckles turn white as he grips the steering wheel, his eyes wide with terror. The engine roars, a mechanical beast, unleashed as he slams the accelerator, the car lurching forward violently. Outside, shadowy figures emerge, crackheads on the hunt, their pursuit relentless and menacing. "Trouble! Go!" Debo shouts, his voice a desperate plea against the rising tide of danger. Inside the lowrider, Cletus clutches the bag tightly, his knuckles white. His eyes gleam with a mischievous glint as he makes his impulsive declaration. Borrowing this. Debo, caught off guard, grips the steering wheel. The lowrider swerves wildly, tires screeching against the asphalt as Debo fights for control. Cletus's grin widens, reveling in the chaos as the car careens down the street. Debo's face contorts with a mix of anger and determination as he struggles to regain control of the swerving car. A sleek black sedan cuts a path through the bustling city street, its polished surface reflecting the urban glare. Behind the wheel, a stern-faced mob boss grips the leather, his knuckles white with unspoken tension. His gaze is fixed, intense, a predator surveying his domain. The city blurs around him, yet his focus remains unwavering, his mind a fortress of strategy and ruthlessness. Each passing face is scrutinized, each shadow assessed, as he navigates the treacherous landscape of power. Inside the black sedan, shadows flicker across the mob boss's face, masking his features in darkness. He leans forward, eyes glinting with a predatory intensity that fills the confined space. His voice, a low and gravelly command, cuts through the silence. "Find the clown and the lowrider," he orders, his words carrying an implicit threat. "Bring me the bag," he concludes, each word a heavy weight in the dimly lit interior. The lowrider speeds down a quiet residential street, a flash of color against the mundane. Debo glances at the rearview mirror, his eyes narrowed with suspicion. Cletus nervously clutches the duffel bag, his knuckles white against the worn fabric. Each passing house seems to amplify the tension in the car. The weight of their unspoken mission hangs heavy in the air. Inside the lowrider, anticipation hangs heavy, the air thick with unspoken expectations. Debo leans forward, his brow furrowed with concern. "Is your cousin legit?" Cletus confidently affirms, a sly grin spreading across his face. "Lil Cheddar's got us." The lowrider rumbles, ready to cruise into the night, hopes and doubts swirling within its confines. The brightly painted house stands out, a single palm tree swaying gently in the breeze. A lowrider bicycle gleams in the sunlight, parked jauntily in front of the vibrant home. Lil Cheddar appears, his outfit as outlandish as his forced smile is strained. He extends a hand, the gesture lacking warmth despite the sunny facade. The air crackles with unspoken tension as they step onto Lil Cheddar's gaudy property. A black sedan glides ominously past Lil Cheddar's house, its tinted windows hiding unknown observers. The vehicle's slow pace suggests a deliberate surveillance, its presence a silent threat. Inside the car, Debo's voice breaks the silence, laced with tension. "Investment bankers found us." The words hang in the air, heavy with the implications of their discovery. Lil Cheddar commands the stage, his presence radiating unwavering confidence. With a raised hand, he stills the non-existent roar of the crowd, poised and ready. Anticipation hangs heavy in the air as he prepares to unleash his lyrical prowess. "I'll bust a rhyme," Lil Cheddar declares, his voice cutting through the silence like a knife. The lowrider bounces violently, its cramped interior smelling of cheap air freshener and rising dread. Nervous sweat glistens on foreheads as the car swerves along the poorly maintained road. Debo's eyes dart around, his anxiety intensifying with each passing bump. He turns to Cletus, his voice laced with urgency and fear. "Cletus, your cousin's flow is about to get us whacked," Debo warns, his words cutting through the noise of the engine. The air inside the lowrider grows heavy with a palpable threat of impending danger. A sleek sedan pulls up to Lil Cheddar's residence, the silence thick with unspoken menace. The mob boss emerges, his presence commanding, his tailored suit a stark contrast to the surroundings. His face is an impassive mask, betraying nothing but a profound lack of interest in Lil Cheddar's domain. Each step he takes exudes an aura of disdain, his eyes scanning the scene with cold indifference. The air crackles with tension as his unimpressed gaze settles upon Lil Cheddar's efforts. Before Lil Cheddar's house, a peaceful scene is about to be disrupted. Bruno, a hulking figure of immense power, approaches a seemingly defenseless palm tree. With brute force, Bruno attacks the palm tree, tearing at its trunk. The fronds of the palm tree thrash wildly as it succumbs to Bruno's relentless assault. The once proud palm tree is reduced to splintered wood and torn leaves, a testament to Bruno's destructive strength. A sleek black sedan idles ominously across from Lil Cheddar's modest home, a stark contrast of worlds about to collide. Lil Cheddar stands on his porch, his nerves betraying him as he faces a looming threat. The mob boss, his expensive suit unable to mask the menace within, seals Lil Cheddar's fate with a chilling ultimatum. "Cash belongs to me," the mob boss declares, his words hanging heavy in the air. A promise of destruction, laced with deadly intent. 24 hours, or your lowrider becomes a planter, and your friend becomes fish food, he finishes, the threat leaving Lil Cheddar in silent dread. Cletus sits rigidly in the lowrider, sweat beading on his brow as tension fills the confined space. The mob boss looms, a hulking presence against the car door, his gaze sharp and assessing. Cletus blurts out, his voice tight with anxiety, "What kind of fish?" "Tilapia allergy." The air hangs heavy with unspoken threats as the mob boss maintains his unnerving silence. Inside the lowrider, tension spikes as Debo violently throws a duffel bag towards Cletus. The bag hits Cletus with a thud, urgency etched on Debo's face. "Get us out of here," Debo shouts, his voice laced with desperation. Cletus's eyes dart around, adrenaline coursing through him as he starts the engine. Outside Lil Cheddar's house, Debo forcefully pulls Cletus toward the waiting lowrider, shadows stretching long in the fading light. Lil Cheddar stumbles, caught off guard as Debo yanks him toward the sputtering vehicle. The lowrider groans, a mechanical beast struggling to awaken. Debo's face contorts with frustration as he tries to coax the engine to life, the air thick with anticipation. Each failed start amplifies the tension, promising a journey fraught with uncertainty and danger. Inside the lowrider, Ray grips the steering wheel, knuckles white against the worn leather. The engine rumbles like a caged beast, vibrating through the car's frame. Ray's eyes dart nervously as he mutters a desperate plea. "My ride ain't ready for a mob chase," he exclaims, his voice tight with anxiety. Lil Cheddar bursts from his house, gripping the handlebars of his lowrider bicycle with fierce determination. He pedals furiously, a blur of motion as he races down the street. Debo and Cletus, lurking in the shadows, lock onto a vintage convertible, their eyes gleaming with mischievous intent. A silent promise of chaos hangs in the air as they fixate on their unsuspecting target. On a sun-drenched street corner, Debo raises a crowbar high, the metal flashing ominously. With brutal force, he smashes the crowbar down, shattering the convertible window into a glittering explosion of glass. "Theft of necessity," Debo declares, his voice ringing out amidst the chaos. Without hesitation, Debo and his accomplice scramble into the vehicle, their movements swift and urgent. The shards of glass shimmer on the seats, a testament to the brazen act. Debo's eyes gleam with a mix of desperation and triumph as he settles into the stolen car. A sleek, black sedan screeches around a street corner, tires protesting against the asphalt. The vehicle, a symbol of power and menace, hints at the ruthless pursuit unfolding. Its darkened windows conceal the mob boss and his intentions, adding to the suspense. The speed of the car amplifies the urgency and danger, signaling they are hot on someone's trail. Each second counts as the sedan accelerates, tightening the noose around its target. The relentless chase intensifies, with the mob boss's sedan a harbinger of impending doom. Debo tears down the highway, a metal beast unleashed, weaving a chaotic path through the sea of cars. In the passenger seat, Cletus's face contorts into a grotesque mask of terror, his scream swallowed by the roar of the engine. The world outside is a blur of colors and furious speed. In the breakdown lane, Lil Cheddar battles against futility, his small legs pistons of desperate energy on his bicycle. His face is a portrait of determination, a tiny warrior against the overwhelming forces of speed and chaos. The highway stretches endlessly before them, a concrete river of madness flowing into the heart of the day. In the speeding convertible, the wind howls as Cletus frantically tears through the glove compartment. The mob boss's car looms closer, a dark predator closing in. Cletus pulls out a document, his eyes widening. A bank statement, he shouts above the wind, a desperate revelation in his voice. Offshore account. Inside the convertible, Debo eyes the mysterious device, suspicion clouding his features. He holds it up, scrutinizing it against the soft light filtering through the car's roof. A skeptical frown deepens as he questions, "A prop?" From the side, the mob boss retorts, his tone sharp and revealing. "GPS tracker." The revelation hangs heavy, altering the atmosphere within the confines of the convertible. On a highway, Cletus's speeding car becomes a spectacle of extravagance, throwing bills into the wind. Cash explodes from the window, a chaotic blizzard of money dancing in the car's wake. Inside the car, the mob boss erupts in fury, his roar echoing over the wind's howl. "Bruno, get my money! The paper trail!" he commands, his face contorted with rage. Debo and Cletus arrive at a gaudy tourist trap divided by antique mall, its entrance littered with peculiar artifacts and oddities. The sun beats down on the outlandish displays, casting long shadows that dance with the heat. In the distance, a small figure races toward them, a desperate urgency in every stride. Lil Cheddar bursts onto the scene, his breath coming in ragged gasps as he reaches the entrance. Sweat glistens on his brow as he leans against a towering fiberglass statue, fighting to regain composure. His eyes dart around the bizarre landscape, a mix of relief and trepidation etched onto his exhausted face. Amidst the crowded aisles of the antique mall, Debo gestures emphatically, laying out the plan. "Disguise, Cletus," Debo commands, his voice barely audible over the din of the shoppers. Cletus, a figure of reluctant compliance, begins his transformation. A Statue of Liberty crown perches absurdly on Cletus's head, completing his tourist camouflage. Cletus blends into the throng of tourists, a walking, talking monument amidst the vintage wares. In a bustling tourist trap and antique mall, Bruno intently searches the crowded aisles, his gaze sharp and unwavering. The air is thick with the scent of aged goods and forgotten memories as he navigates through the maze of collectibles. Suddenly, a loud crash echoes through the hall, disrupting the calm. Cletus clumsily knocks over a towering display of Elvis plates, sending them crashing to the floor. Shards of porcelain and shattered dreams litter the floor as the image of the king lies in pieces. Inside the bustling tourist trap, Bruno's attention is immediately drawn to a sudden, disruptive noise. Reacting swiftly, Debo seizes Cletus, pulling him into the sanctuary of a clothing rack. The rack sags under the weight of oversized, mismatched garments, providing a chaotic camouflage. Hidden within the fabric jungle, Debo's triumphant voice cuts through the noise. "Found them, boss," Debo exclaims, his voice a mix of urgency and accomplishment. The mismatched clothing ripples as they burrow deeper, seeking to disappear completely within the chaotic display. Inside the crowded tourist trap, Bruno's frustration boils over as he stomps aggressively toward a rack of forgotten treasures. Cletus, flustered and frantic, stumbles amidst the antiques, his anxiety palpable. Disaster strikes as Cletus accidentally yanks down a massive, ornate tapestry. The tapestry, a vibrant depiction of a medieval battle, cascades down, enveloping them in a shroud of history. The falling tapestry creates a sudden, unexpected barrier, completely obscuring Bruno and Cletus's frantic escape. In the cluttered aisles of the antique mall, Lil Cheddar stumbles upon a relic of the past, a boombox. An audacious plan sparks in his eyes. He'll use this to dazzle the unsuspecting. With the boombox hoisted on his shoulder, he positions himself before a group of elderly ladies, ready to unleash his impromptu rap. The first beats drop, and Lil Cheddar launches into his performance, his rhymes as corny as they are earnest. The elderly ladies watch with a mixture of amusement and bewilderment, their expressions a canvas of delightful surprise. Amidst the crowded racks of a tourist trap and antique mall, Debo emerges, a giant, dusty Viking helmet perched jauntily on his head. Following close behind, Cletus makes a grand entrance, completely swallowed by a full-body gorilla suit. The helmet appears ancient and ill-fitting. The gorilla suit looks shaggy and worn, its dark fur contrasting oddly with the brightly colored tourist trinkets surrounding them. Both figures stand out amidst the clutter, a bizarre spectacle in the heart of the antique mall. The antique mall, once bustling with chaotic sounds, falls into an unsettling silence. Chimes and cuckoo clocks are abruptly silenced, leaving only the ominous hum of fluorescent lights. Dust motes dance in the sudden stillness, illuminated by the eerie, unwavering glow. An unseen presence echoes through the now silent space, a voice filled with menace and greed. "You cannot escape. That money was the down payment for my new yacht." The disembodied voice booms. Inside the bustling tourist trap, Cletus, obscured by a comical gorilla head, leans conspiratorially towards Debo. Muffled by the mask, Cletus questions, "Why does he need a yacht? Isn't he a mobster?" Debo responds with a nonchalant shrug, a gesture of indifference. The weight of unspoken secrets hangs heavy in the air. Amidst the labyrinthine aisles of the antique mall, their eyes scan the cluttered stalls, each overflowing with relics of forgotten eras. A flicker of hope ignites as they spot a sign, stark against the faded wallpaper. "Delivery, access only." The words promise a hidden path, a clandestine route away from the prying eyes of the curious. A silent agreement passes between them, a shared understanding that this forbidden exit holds the key to their escape. Each step they take towards the back exit is deliberate, fraught with anticipation and the thrill of the unknown. The air crackles with the unspoken question: what awaits them beyond the threshold of delivery access only? Amidst racks of brightly colored novelty t-shirts, a figure emerges. Bruno steps forward, his presence cutting through the touristy clutter. In his hands, he holds a small framed photo, its contents obscured from afar. The antique mall fades into background noise as Bruno's appearance takes center stage. The framed photo hints at a hidden narrative amidst the mass-produced souvenirs. Bruno's expression is unreadable, adding a layer of intrigue to the mundane surroundings. Under the harsh fluorescent glare of the antique mall, Bruno's thick fingers extend, clutching a glossy photograph. The photograph reflects the artificial light, obscuring its secrets. His voice drops, a grave warning hanging in the air. "The mob boss said if I couldn't get the money." He pauses, the unspoken threat resonating in the crowded space. "I was supposed to show you this," he finishes, his eyes hard. In the cluttered expanse of the antique mall, a faded photograph lies amidst forgotten treasures. The image captures a moment frozen in time. Cletus and the mob boss, their arms linked in camaraderie. A bar mitzvah provides the unlikely backdrop for their unexpected bond. Years etched into the aging print. The mob boss appears younger, his features softer, a stark contrast to the hardened figure he would become. Pinned proudly to his lapel, a best uncle badge hints at a life far removed from the shadows he now inhabits. The photograph whispers tales of loyalty, betrayal, and the unforeseen paths that twist through life's grand tapestry. Inside the cluttered tourist trap, a gorilla head is removed, revealing Cletus beneath. Cletus's eyes widen, pupils dilating in dawning horror. A gasp escapes his lips as recognition floods his face. The antique mall fades into background blur as his world narrows. "Uncle Tony?" Cletus cries out, his voice a mix of disbelief and shock. The gorilla head lies discarded on the dusty floor, a symbol of shattered illusions. Amidst the curiosities of the tourist trap and antique mall, Bruno nods with desperate conviction, trying to break through Cletus's disbelief. Bruno's voice rises with urgency, trying to clarify the situation to Cletus. He's not a mob boss. He's your rich, eccentric Uncle Tony, president of the Staten Island HOA, Bruno exclaims. Bruno elaborates on Uncle Tony's aspirations, revealing the family's peculiar ambitions. He just wanted you to take over the family business, his lawn care empire, which he calls his investment portfolio, and is run out of a bodega front, Bruno explains. Bruno's frantic explanation continues, highlighting the theatrical nature of Uncle Tony's act. He's just using the mob boss's persona to toughen you up, Cletus. Amidst the clutter of dusty artifacts and gaudy souvenirs, a duffel bag sits innocently on a table. The bag, filled with cash, was once a tool used to instill fear in Cletus. Cletus, eyes wide, stares at the bag. Lawn care, he exclaims, his voice laced with disbelief and dawning horror. The bag sits silently as Cletus reacts in shock. The once threatening bag of cash now seems merely out of place amongst the cheap goods of the tourist trap.